Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone, and inshallah we will continue with our lessons the way we've been covering in the Maktab in the Madrasah. So I hope everyone is well and you're trying to make best of your time whilst at home, learning, having fun, helping out your parents, doing good things, starting a new hobbies or whatever it is. So as promised, we're going to continue with our lessons. Since it's the month of Ramadan, I thought the best thing to do is we'll go to the topic of Ramadan, which I wanted to go through before the breakdown, before the lockdown anywhere. So Ramadan is the ninth Islamic month in the Islamic calendar. So it's the ninth month out of 12 months. So you should try. If you don't know the Islamic months, you should try and learn them. And the Islamic month, they are based on the lunar calendar, which is basically the moon cycle. So the moon cycle, right? If you look at it from the first visibility to the crescent until it goes to the full moon and then back again, waning to it disappears. It takes about roughly 29 or 30 days. So that's why Islamic month is either 29 or 30 days, and that's unlike the Gregorian calendar, which is 30 or 31, or for February is 28 days, which follows the solar cycle, which is the sun basically, whereas Islamic calendar follows the moon cycle. And the way Ramadan starts, or any month starts, is by on the 29 days people would go out and look at the sky, usually around after Asr, just before Maghrib time or just after Maghrib time. You would look up in the sky and then you will see if you see the new crescent and it's very partially visible, then that would be a start of the new month. So that's how it starts normally. It's not possible for us to see new moon because of we live in the northern hemisphere, and also because of the cloud and everything. So it's not a very clear night, because the new moon or the crescent, right, is only visible for a very short time. I'm talking about maybe a few seconds. It comes visible and then it kind of disappears again. That's why people go out there and they look up in the sky and they'll look, and if somebody sees it, then it's start of the new month. Otherwise, sometimes it's not even visible because of if it's not clear night as well. So that then if nobody sees it, then they would complete the month by doing 30 days. So, and that's how it is. So that's why we have sometime. Some of you asked me in the past as well, or some of you have asked as well, why is it some people starting Ramadan one day and some people starting on a different day? Because in the past, Muslim world was under one leadership. So they're the big civilizations. Like for instance, during the time of the Umayyads, their capital was in Damascus, but they controlled large parts of Middle East, North Africa, including parts of Central Africa as well, including Cyprus. So whenever any decision was made in Damascus, everyone had to follow, because the Muslims, they all followed the state, the main capital. And then the Abbasid, they had the capital in Baghdad, and their empire was much more vaster as well. And again, so they followed the one. If he was sighted on the 29th day, then they would fast. If it wasn't, then they would do it on the 30th day. And same as well when the Muslims ruled Spain, they would Spain, Portugal, and parts of North Africa as well. So if a decision was made by the state leadership, then the whole Muslims in all parts of the world would follow that. And then we have the Ottoman Empire, who had the capital in modern day Turkey, and they controlled most of Europe in the Balkans, including countries like Romania, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Greece, and all these places, and North Africa, Central Africa as well. Central Asia, and all the way up to Azerbaijan and places like that as well. And they control Middle East as well. And so when they would give a decision, Muslims for the whole world would follow that rule. But nowadays, because we live in West and we don't have there's so many countries out there, and everyone tends to follow individually basically as well. So some people people living in UK or in the West, what they tend to do is they would either follow South Africa or Morocco, which is a Muslim country, or Saudi Arabia, or some other countries. So they would choose. So what you find is most people either follow Morocco or they go with Saudi Arabia. So one country might cite it, whereas the other country might not cite it. So that's why we have usually Ramadan or Eid falls on a different day. But anyway, it's not no big deal. It happens. Similar things happen in the past as well. Now, coming back to Ramadan, Ramadan is a very auspicious month, and the reason why it's very auspicious because Ramadan is associated with fasting, which is not eating or drinking for if you're a mature adult. So when did that become? Fasting in Ramadan became further after the Hijrah. So it was roughly about 18 months after Hijrah. So that's when the Prophet when he migrated from Mecca to Medina. So it's after so he spent 13 years in terms of the revelation of the Quran, 13 years in Mecca and then 10 years in Medina. So when they migrated to Medina, it was 18 months after the migration in the month of Rajab when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded to fast in the month of Ramadan when it became fard. And in the same month as well, prior to that, Muslim, when they had to pray Salah, they would pray facing towards Jerusalem, Qibla. The Qibla was towards Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. In the same month, Allah commanded them to face towards Mecca to pray As-Salah, and also in the same month, the command for fasting came. So that was in the month of Rajab, which is the 1 month that you have Rajab, and then you have Sha'ban, and then you have Ramadan. So the command came in the month of Rajab, and then 2 months later, they had to fast, and that was 18 months after the Hijrah in Medina. So that's the background to the fasting, and the fasting is obligatory for the whole month. So from the 1st of Ramadan till either 29 or 30 days. Now, the month itself is very special as well because many things happen on that month as well. One of the most significant thing that we all probably associate with it, because Ramadan is associated with the month of Quran, month of the Ummah, month of the Muslim, basically, because you see Muslims they'll be fasting all day, they'll be doing lots of extra worship and reading lots of Quran, because on the month of Ramadan, on the 24th night in Ramadan is when the Quran was revealed to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And not only that, on the first night of the Ramadan, also the suhuf, the scripture was revealed to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam as well. And on the 6th of Ramadan, the Torah, which is the Holy Scripture, was revealed to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And on the 13th night of Ramadan, the Injil or the Bible or the Gospel, which was revealed to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So you could see the Holy Scriptures, they were revealed on this month, in the month of Ramadan. So it shows that there is a very significant, very special about this month, especially with the scriptures. And for us, it's the Quran. So that's some of the you could say the importance of Ramadan. So what do we do in Ramadan? Ramadan is a month when we fast. Now, fasting is not unique or special thing just for the Muslims as well, because in the Quran, there's a verse in Surah Baqarah that says that fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed to those before you, so you may attain taqwa. So Allah SWT here is saying to us that fasting has been made fard for us, just like fasting was fard for people in the past as well. For instance, the people of Isa alayhi salam, they would fast in the month of Lent, which is around Easter time. So but for them, they had to fast 40 days. But for us, is fasting 30 days in the month of Ramadan. And then also in the verse, Allah SWT explains the purpose of fasting. The purpose of fasting is to attain taqwa. Taqwa, in a simple term, it means to become God conscientious. Somebody who is basically constantly thinking that whatever I am doing, is it good or is it bad? So if it's bad, then staying away from it and trying to do more good deeds, i.e. fasting, reading lots of Quran, praying, worship, making dua, giving sadaqah, helping people, any kind of good deeds. So when you're doing all that thing, it's because you're doing it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why, so the month you see most people doing lots of good deeds, and it's a month to attain taqwa. So that's the purpose or the reason for or the benefit or the purpose of month of Ramadan. So first of all, so Ramadan, so what takes place is fasting. The Arabic word for fasting is Sawm. Swad waw mim, Sawm. And Sawm in Arabic, what it means is to stop doing something. That's what Sawm means, is to stop doing something. But for us, in terms of from a Sharia perspective, what it means, right, is to stop eating, drinking, and a few other things, and for a period of time with intention. So when we say fasting, for us, what it means is, right, is to stop doing certain acts. For instance, eating and drinking for a period of time with intention. So what's the period of time? Is not to eat and drink just before the entry to Fajr, which is known as Suhur time, until Maghrib time. So now, because it's in around sort of April, May, the days are quite long, so it's about 18 hours long. So the period of time when we don't eat or drink is from Suhur time, which is just before entry of Fajr, until Maghrib time. And what's the intention? Our intention is to fast because of the month of Ramadan. And what we're doing, we're stopping eating and drinking. So that's the fasting, the definition of fasting from an Arabic language and from a fiqh perspective. So you guys should know that. Okay, so 3 things to remember. Okay, so one is stop doing something, i.e. eating and drinking. Second one is period of time from just before entry of Fajr, Suhur time, until Maghrib. And the third is the intention. Intention is fasting. Now fasting is, there are 2 types of fasting. The first is obligatory fard fasting, which is fard, and the second one is supererogatory fasting, which is, you could say, wajib. So the fard fast is of 2 types. The first is, so I'm going to read from the book here, from Quduri, which is connected to a specific time, like the fasting of Ramadan, and of specific vows. Its fast is permitted with an intention formed during the night, and if one does not make that intention until the morning. Okay, so the first type of fard is basically we have to, if you are mature and adult, just like for instance for prayers, okay, then fasting becomes fard new. So if it's fard new, then you have to, if it's fard for you to pray salah, then you have to pray, you have to fast as well. So first type of fard is for the month of Ramadan. So that becomes fard, we have to fast if you're mature, adult, and healthy. And we'll go through the some of the excuses people might have for not to fast later on. The second type of fard is, for instance, if somebody makes a vow, which is known in another case. So if somebody makes a vow that, oh Allah, if this happens, or if I get a good result in an exam, or if I do this action, then I will fast, then that fast becomes fard new. The other type of fard is kafara, or expiation, where if you, or qada as well, where if you missed a fast or if you've done something wrong, then you have to fast in order to make up for it. So that's the different types of fard, but you don't need to know too much about it. The second type of fast that which become necessary to fulfill is a qada. Actually, it's gone through that as well. Expiation, and that's as well. Okay, so I hope you've got all that on your notes. I'm not going to go through too much. Inshallah, I'm going to continue with the subject of Ramadan later on. So for today's lesson, it's more of an introduction. What is Ramadan? What is fasting? And the different types of fast. Okay, so there's fard and wajib, and there's also sunnah fast as well. We'll go to that inshallah in the future as well. Sunnah fast is basically means fasting on other time of the year. For instance, in the month of Sha'ban, you would fast on the 15th night. It's a sunnah to fast. It's a good thing to fast. Or Prophet ﷺ says to fast on the white nights, i.e. the middle of the full moon. Okay, so that's on the 15th, 16th, 17th. It is sunnah to fast as well. Also to fast on the 6 days of Shawwal as well. That's after Ramadan, to fast in that month as well. Then it is sunnah to fast in the month of Muharram as well, on the 10th of Muharram, and 9th as well, or 11th. And it's also sunnah to fast on the 9 days of Dhul Hijjah as well. On the 12th Islamic month, it is sunnah to fast on them 9 days, from 1st to 9, and on the 10th day is Idul Adha. And it is also sunnah to doing a worship because you're happy, you want to celebrate, and that's why Prophet ﷺ, he would often fast on Mondays and Thursdays. And one of the companion, I think it was Sayyidina Anas, he asked him, "Oh Prophet of Allah, we see you fasting often on Mondays. Why is that?" And then Prophet ﷺ said, "This was the day I was born." So he would fast on Mondays because he was born. So he was commemorating, he was celebrating his birth, and for him to do that, it was by fasting on that day. And he would fast on Thursdays as well. And he was asked about why would he fast on Thursdays, and he said, "This is the day when our deeds are presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So everything we do for the week, them deeds are presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, "I want to be in a state of fasting when my deeds are being shown to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So that's a sunnah days to fast as well, Mondays and Thursdays, or on the 15th, 16th, 17th of the Islamic month as well, and some of the other days of the month as well. So what are some of the benefits of fasting? Okay, so it's mentioned that fasting protects a person from hellfire. In a different hadith, it's mentioned that anybody who fasts, then there will be a distance of 40 years away from hellfire. So for every time you keep a fast, you will be a distance of 40 years away from hellfire. And also it's mentioned that on the day of judgment, fasting and those who read Quran a lot, it will be a source of shafa'ah for you on that day, like it will intercede for you. So those who keep a lot of fast and who read a lot of Quran, that they will come to you on the day of judgment to help you if you need help, to intercede for you as a shafa'ah for you. So that's I'm going to stop there with regards to the fasting. Inshallah, we're going to continue in our next lesson. Start a new topic because